Today, I'm going to show you how to go from this to this, transforming your basic Walmart trolling motor into a remote control smart motor with GPS anchoring spot lock, self-driving routes, phone operation, and much more using the basic old trolling motor you already have. We're gonna jump straight into the installation, but if you'd like to learn more about the compatible motors, you can click the first link in my description, and if you wanna pick up an Autoboat Smart Head, use code Grayson Roberts for 5% off your order. Let's dive straight to the install, and I'll show you a little bit of test footage, but for the general overview, feel free to check out that whole video already on this channel.
All right, the first thing we're gonna do is find a place to mount your motor. I've got it in my $10 billion boat shop, aka my one-bedroom apartment, and grab your tools. All we should really need is a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the head and take it off of the shaft itself, and some wire cutters. I couldn't find my wire cutters, so I had to run to Walmart. This is the only one they had left in stock. Might not be the best, but it's what we got for today. And of course, here is the actual system that we are looking for, the Autoboat system from Tiny Boat Nation. I'll link everything that you need in the description, including this exact 55-pound thrust motor and this head right here. So the first thing we have to do is, of course, take off the head. We've got to remove the head and snip the wires. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the top part of this head by unscrewing these screws right here. And then there's going to be some there, and then on the other side up under there as well. That's step number one. All right, now we're gonna remove the top of the head and we're gonna expose all of the wires. And pretty much we're just gonna get rid of all of this stuff. And every trolling motor is gonna look a little bit different. This one has the digital maximizer, it's the Endura Max, so it's a little bit different. But for the most part, they're all pretty much gonna be the same process. You're just gonna wanna be exposing these wires. But once you've got all this stuff off, we're gonna take off the actual nut that holds the head to the shaft. That's gonna be this dude back here. Okay, so you've got two cords that actually run to the battery, and then you've got the cords that actually connect to the motor and then sends it down there. So in here, we can see these guys are right here. So we don't need to worry about those. But there's two that go into the shaft. Those are the wires that we want. So we've got to, you can either cut it here and lift the head off, or if you unplug it, you can just lift the entire unit off itself. So I'm just gonna feed these wires through and lift this entire unit off. Just like that. And just like that, this is literally all we need right here. The rest of this, you can save if you want to use it later or whatever, but I'm going to keep mine totally intact, so that way it is a functional head if I ever need it for another project. And it's these little suckers that we're going to be working with. So you're going to want to leave about this much, but if you want to, you can cut it up here and kind of give it a little bit of practice if you want to practice stripping it, because if you screw it up and you've only got 3 inches to work with, you're not going to get any more cord out of this shaft. So if you're going to practice with these guys. And that's exactly what I'm going to do right now, because like I said, these are not quite the right size. So I'm just going to make sure that they're going to get the job done. And looks like they sure have. All right, so obviously that went well. I tested my wire cutters. These are just the cheap $8 ones from Walmart. I will link them in the description, but I'm really gonna link one that will fit a little bit better, and just, it's not gonna be any more expensive, but I will link what I recommend for wire cutters and what I wish I could find. But once you're comfortable with that, we can snip, and like I said, you're gonna wanna leave about 3 inches. And from the tip, this is about a ½ an inch. You're gonna wanna leave about, I would say, 0.8 inches, maybe an inch, just a hair under. And you'll see why here in a second. All right, so we're gonna leave, I would say, it looks like on their website, they leave a couple inches. So we will leave a couple inches of room here on both the wires. And honestly, This looked way more kind of complicated than I really thought it would be. This is not bad at all. There we go. They left. That's about 1.5 inches. Okay, now you're just gonna want to do the same thing. You're just gonna strip the wire, leaving a little less than 1 inch. Look at that. That is pretty much perfect. Now, another thing you do not want to do is you do not want to twist the wires. You can pinch them together, but do not twist the wires. All right, let's do the same for the black. All right, now we've got 2 perfectly exposed wires that should fit perfectly into the quick connects of the Autoboat head. And the reason we did that is because the head has these quick connects on them. So you just open it up, you slide the wire in, and you close it, and it's a quick connect. It's that easy. Hey, Charlie, what are you eating? Okay, so this was the depth regulator that was previously on it. Obviously, you can go ahead and get rid of that. And this is the directional lock. Oh, I forgot about that part. So when you take the directional lock off, your motor's gonna do that. So yeah, it's gonna do that. Anyway, take this off because that's what the Autoboat motor's gonna be into. I'm glad he wasn't sitting under there. All right, quick thing I learned right on the spot. Yeah, it's gonna do that. So you're gonna want something to prop it up. I just have my ottoman and yeah, kind of freaked me out. Glad my toes weren't under there. All right, so now we want to put the motor on the shaft first, obviously before the head, but it only goes on a certain way. So this little hole is going to line up with the directional lock that you took out. So the motor is going to go on the front. So it's going to go a little something like this. Should just drop right on down in there. Slide right in. Look at that. That's actually a perfect fit. Now we got to find that directional lock. Directional lock. Yep, directional lock. Yeah, there it is. And that should just go right in as it is. Tighten that down. And I'll show you the orientation of how this motor is supposed to go on. So as you can see, here is your clamp-ons right there. And the lever to kind of move it back and forth is back here, and then this is the front of the motor. That's the lever. This is looking at it from the right side. The motor is going to be sticking over the propeller. So line that up with the propeller. And then the head is going to face forward. So the head's going to be facing that way with the propeller facing this way. And once it's all done, I'll show you the correct orientation. All right, so this little thing with teeth is your new depth regulator. It's going to be in the box, and it's going to line up with that right there, and that's kind of what's going to grip your trolling motor and connect it with the motor. So it's a clamshell design, so all you need to do is put it on like that, close it, and then you're going to line it up with the teeth and then clamp it down pretty good. Yep, that's locked in place. All right, so if you're looking at the motor dead on, as you can see, motor here, propeller facing you. I've got the depth regulator at a 90-degree angle pointed to the right, lined up with these 2 screws. And it's a little bit tricky because until you start tightening it down quite a bit, the teeth aren't going to align. The clamshell is going to be open a little bit and it's not going to line up with those teeth. So what I did is I lifted up my motor just a little bit, I clamped it down, and then let the weight of the motor settle into the teeth, and now it's locked in. Now should be the easiest part. So our head is going to be facing this direction. So now we just have to use these quick connects to fit them in. So as you can see, one is already connected to the head. All you have to do is open it up and insert the right color. So red obviously goes to red. I had to get my wife to help me hold it. It's a little bit weird. Don't twist the wires, just pinch them together. And they should slide right into here. Make sure to get them all. Push it all the way in, and then you close that, and then it's gripped. So then we're gonna do the same thing over here. Open the flap. Don't twist. Push them together. Get it all the way in there, close it, and it bit. All right. Looks like it did well. So now these things, you're actually gonna turn back up in to the shaft. So stuff those suckers in there. Now the last thing to do is to put the screw back on, but there's a bunch of stuffed up cords in here, so this part might actually be a little bit easier said than done. We are gonna have to deal with that, but what I do have is a little flathead screwdriver that I can stick in here and split the wires without puncturing them, of course, and kind of make a little way. So I'm gonna spend some time just trying to course this screw to go in this hole. Been there before. Okay, mine actually went right through. So all I need to do is tighten her down and I should be installed. I think that's it. I think it's installed. If it doesn't fire up, I quit YouTube. All right, here is the remote. And then it said to hold the north button for 5 seconds. I think there's enough room. Oh, it turned the motor on. Oh, here it goes. Oh, here it goes. Oh, here it goes. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, there it goes. No way. No way.
What?
Look, it's working! I'm controlling it with my remote!
Well, that's how it's supposed to be.
I know, but like for the first time in history, we can give regular trolling motors spot lock. Oh my god. Oh, and it shuts it off immediately. That's wild. That is so wild. Look, it cuts it off immediately. That is nuts! Alright, I'm going on the water. I'm playing with this thing.
Spoiler alert, this motor works phenomenally. And if you would like to see the full-length first impressions video, that is already on this channel. Today was more about how to actually install it on any basic cheap tiller model trolling motor. Spot lock works great. North heading works even better. It has cruise control. You can put in your own GPS routes for true self-driving capabilities. Connect it to your phone. This thing is the real deal. As you can see, it is a super easy install that anybody can do. And if you would like to get yourself a smart head motor, you can use the code Grayson Roberts in the link in my description for 5% off your purchase. This technology has been extremely expensive in the past, reserved for only the highest end bow mount trolling motors. But now this technology is available for the $50 garage sale 30-pound thrust Minn Kota that you've had in your garage for 3 years. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed. Happy boating, tight lines, and God bless.